One of the most interesting findings that we've made at Shipshape.vc with regards to investor appetite is that investor appetites are becoming far more niche. So we've released an LP search engine waitlist. We're planning to build an LP search engine that will be free to use for any funds around the world who are looking to raise their next fund. And off the back of that waitlist, one of the questions we ask is actually around what's the thesis for the fund? And we've had 55 responses. And the vast majority of those responses show that funds are going deeper on a sectoral-based domain that they want to have genuine expertise and access to deal flow in. Gone, seemingly, are the days of focusing on generic B2B SaaS. And here are the days of looking very much on, for example, decarbonization deep tech companies or defense tech companies or companies in very specific areas within martech and adtech. These are some really interesting changes in the way that funds are now structuring themselves. They're coming earlier in terms of stage, and they're also really focusing in on specific domains where they think that they've got an unfair advantage versus other funds, and therefore can maximize their own chances of raising a fund versus other funds. So these are areas that I think are really exciting, and actually for founders too, because it means that there are going to be more funds out there that genuinely understand a particular domain in which a company and a founder is building. And I think that's a real positive versus a more generic model where ultimately you can speak with a fund, but they might not genuinely understand your sector or your space. Why does that matter for founders? Ultimately, because if a fund doesn't really understand the domain or field that you're in, they understand that there's a risk that their market knowledge isn't accurate. And so they therefore have to price in that risk into the deal. But the fund itself doesn't take that risk. You do, as the founder. And you often see that being reflected in the valuations. It's one of the reasons why regional valuations are lower than, for example, in centres of financial capital like London. You might have a couple of regional funds that act as de facto monopolies locally, but they don't tend to be sector specialists. And therefore, local companies are more likely to get a worse deal, a worse valuation, because ultimately those funds don't understand the risk and the opportunity of a sector correctly. If you want to find out more, go to Shipshape.vc. There you can sign up for the search engine. It's free to use. There's no restriction. There are no fees for founders, for those who are helping founders. And you can also see some of our blog content on, for example, how to reach out to investors, the different types of funding available, and also some of the expansion trends that we're noticing for founders across the world.